are airbrushed adverts misleading? On each of these, I guess you could say, interesting, it could be a debate, you could kind of see it both ways. Number 2 is, should homosexuals face execution? I'm kind of thinking, that's not really a question you can answer anything other than no to. It's one of these 10 million questions to which the answer is no. No, I don't wish to make too light of it. The first person that answered it says, what kind of question is this? It's very sensibly. There's a whole bunch of people who've answered down the string. The string's now been closed, so you can't actually contribute anymore. But someone has grasped the thing very clearly. I can't believe I'm actually reading a debate on whether someone should be executed for expressing their sexuality. So, initially, completely mystified, why on earth would the BBC have this up? So I just tried to understand it. I have the privilege to be the chair of an all-party group, the all-party group on the Great Lakes. There's a couple of hundred members, including members from this house and in the other house, of course, from across the whole house. And we're very active on issues to do with Africa. There is one piece of legislation which Uganda, sadly, is trying to put through at the moment, which will essentially send people to jail if they're caught committing a homosexual act, send them to jail for 7 years. If they repeat it, some people think it's just if they've got AIDS or HIV, but there is also a criteria that if they're a repeat offender, they could be executed. So the BBC has chosen to deal with that by having a website that asks us to debate it and consider it. I mean, you could see it both ways, suggests the BBC. Now, in actual fact, of course, we understand that they're probably imagining they're communicating mainly with people in Uganda, in Africa. As it happens, every single person on the string that's replied comes from somewhere else. Winchester, not known for, unless there's a Winchester in Uganda. Alberta. Chap from Alberta says, or perhaps a woman, NF from Alberta says, can I move to Uganda? At least one country in the world is taking moral values seriously. It may sound extreme, but that shock value will allow more people to think about their actions beforehand. So the BBC certainly engendered a bit of discussion from people who have seen both sides of the argument. My own instinct is what the BBC is trying to do is to tap into the kind of discussion that's going on in Uganda at the moment. We should be looking at what's going on in Uganda, and frankly most people are, with abhorrence. What President Museveni is encouraging tacitly, actually, because it's a backbench bill, but it has a chance of becoming law, is something which is homophobic, it's brutal, it's savage, and we should be condemning it, and the BBC should be condemning it, just as we do sexual violence in the Congo, or genocide in Rwanda or Darfur. Instead, it seems to have thought it appropriate to come up with something that suggests it's a subject for discussion. Now, I think why it's done that is because it is a subject for discussion in Uganda. But in point of fact, if the BBC can do no more, and actually it can and often does more, if it can do no more on the subject and suggest that there should be some even-handed discussion, then there's something badly wrong. Now, as it happens, and I'll be as brief as I can here, Mr. Deputy Speaker, the BBC World Service does much fabulous work across Africa and across the world. It was closed down recently in Rwanda. There was a great deal of time and effort spent by the BBC for it to be opened up. The Kenya Rwanda service only in Rwanda. It was eventually opened up. Everyone recognises its great service, both to people of the UK who listen to it and across the world, and obviously the countries concerned. But there is something deeply wrong with this presentation. It advertises, I say, a radio programme. I've no doubt that that would be mediated, and whoever ran the programme, produced the programme, and presented it would have tried to be even-handed in some ways, and hopefully to present some sense that, you know, a decent, sensible debate about banning homosexuality in Uganda and sending people to prison should surely end up with us condemning it out of hand. That clearly hasn't happened here, and I really do hope they take note. It does occur to me, however, that the other thing the BBC have done with this, what I consider to be a grave error, I suspect it's someone fairly junior, but a more senior editor would have seen this before it went up on the website. They know who reads the website, and they know who responds to the website. Every single person who's responded to this website either lives in England or, in one or two cases, lives abroad. So what they've done is they've engendered debate on the subject of homosexuality and should we execute homosexuals in Britain with UK taxpayers' money. I think that's pretty much all I have to say on the subject for the moment. I do hope that the BBC will pay attention. I've had an opportunity to raise it here, and perhaps there'll be some modest impact in that respect. I've certainly emailed, as I was sitting here, Mark Thompson, the Director General of the BBC, and I hope other people might be moved to do the same.